So we've gone through the last 3 weeks enjoying the principles that can transform our lives, realizing them at a deeper level, understanding them a bit more fully so that we can apply them a little more deeply. So we've seen that spirit, the absolute, is that amazing creative force. So spirit is the thing itself, and the way it works is through its own law, and what it does is it flows, and we use it by directing it. So spirit is, through its amazing creative law, that which flows out into creation and creates, and you and I get to use it. There's a power for good, said Ernest Holmes, in the universe, and you and I can use it. That's an amazing thing to be aware of, to know the power. In the old language, it would be the power and the grace and the presence of the Holy Spirit, calling upon the power and the grace and the presence of the Holy Spirit and allowing that great presence to come through us and bless our lives with all kinds of good. It's called by many names, and we call it infinite intelligence. We call it the law of infinite intelligence, and the way it works in our lives is by working through us. So today we're looking at how we, how we use that, how we use it, and I've already given you a clue. We direct it. We direct it. We use it by directing it. But we can't direct it until we know what it is, until we recognize it, until we know what it is, until we understand the process. And then when we know what it is and understand the process, we have a choice. We can direct it for our good. We can forget about it, or we can direct it toward what's not our good. So there are many, many choices in our lives in living, but today's call for us with regard to how to use this incredible, infinite, intelligent force, the presence, the power of the Holy Spirit of life itself that is available to us and can flow through us for any good thing that we hope to desire, is to wrap ourselves around that. Wrap ourselves around that and say yes to that. Yes to the abundance of life and living. Yes to the moreness of myself. Yes to the increase of that expression in and through and by means of my life for good and only for good. Not just for myself, but for all else besides. And the key to really accelerating in this is to know that I never ask for anything just for me. I'm done with the memes. The memes are out of here. I ask whatever I ask for myself, for every living thing and every one. You hear me say that over and over again. And I mean it. For every living thing and every one, because I'm not the only one that is. I'm part of the great one of all. And so what I'm looking for to express through myself, I want everybody else to have the same opportunity and get there too. And that's what makes prayer strong. So how we use this great good thing called the law of mind, the law of life and action, is by indeed directing it. When I first recognize there's moreness about me, there's an otherness about me, that's the oneness of me. That otherness is the oneness of me. It's a bit of a conundrum, but think about it, you'll get it. And so did I after a while. How can otherness be oneness and oneness be... Well, anyway, there is that greatness, that goodness, that power, that might, that force, that presence, that infinite intelligence burning within me in order to express itself as itself in good through me. In good through me. That's why we are made mightily. That's why we are made wonderfully. That's why we are made magnificently. Because we have the ability to direct that power, that presence, and that force for great good in ourselves and in our lives. So how do we go about all of that? There is a process. There's always a process until we are so aware. There is no process. There's instantaneousness. I just have to go, and so it is. And so it is. God, and so it is. That's all. No process. In the moment. Speak the word is made flesh, and so it is. So we want to get there. So what we need to do is to get an idea, first and foremostly, to have an idea. Now you may think that your idea for your good is your idea. Well, it's not. It's not your idea. The only ideas you have are naughty ideas. They're all your own. They are all your own concoction, your own creation, and they're yours, and you can keep them. But any idea for good is you listening and hearing and awakening to the impulse of life itself within you that wants to express through you as that good. Health. That's life saying, come on, you're restricting me. I want to express more fully in your life as health. Listen to me, pay attention, get in the program, come into alignment, get one with it. That's what that is. So you get the idea. The idea is an impulse in you. And you pay no attention to it. You know, it comes and it goes. And then you get the idea again. You say, oh, that's interesting. And then you get the idea again. You say, oh, yeah, maybe I should think about that. And then you get the idea again and again and again and again. And finally, you make a decision. This is a good idea. I think this might be a good idea to have happen in my life. And so you get clear about it, and you say yes to it. And you say, yeah, I'm going to go for that, because this is good. But it's not just to be good for you. It has to be good for everything and everyone as well. So I can't say, I just want greater health. Well, what do I want it for? What am I going to do with it? How can I serve better as a result of having greater health? Because this is what accelerates the process. I just can't have more wealth just because I want more wealth, and it's nice to think I have more wealth. What do I want it for? What am I going to do with it? How is it going to help the world? How am I going to be able to serve more fully and deeply and wider as a result of my more wealth? You're getting the idea now, aren't you? And everything else is the same. It's not just about me. It's about I, and the I in everything and everyone. So the impulse within me is not a me impulse for good, it's an I, the great I am impulse within me that wants to know itself more fully, express itself more magnificently by means of me, so that I can be that fullness, that magnificence, that blessing in life and living wherever I am, and raise everything up. Not by preaching or teaching or doing any of that, but simply by being me. Simply by being open and receptive to the I am in me. And that will radiate its own blessing and its own good, with very little to do with me except me saying yes to being a channel to it. And so clarity, the first thing, clarity, a great idea, I have it, I know it, I'm going for it. And then the next step comes in. Having been clear, I must support now that idea. I have to support the idea. How do I support the idea? Every time it comes to mind, I say yes to it. Every time it comes to mind, I feel that this is right for me and for the grace and the blessing it's going to bring from and through me. And so I support that idea. Then I begin to feel like, yeah, I feel the idea. I let it into me. I let it saturate me. I let it be all that I am, and I become one with the idea. And every time I think of the idea, I bless it. I say, thank you for this wonderful thing already in my life happening. It's a beautiful thing. And I tell no one. I tell no one until it's birthed. Because if I do, I'll weaken my resolve. Because there'll always be somebody that will rain on my parade and hail on my crop and tell me to grow up and smell the coffee, the roses, or whatever. And who do I think I am to think that I could indeed ever experience such a big thing? You see, so I don't do that. I tell what I need, where I need to tell it, within myself, to the self of myself. I tell it all the time, like the kid in the middle, that program, The Middle. Shh, yes, and I know for myself that this great good is going to happen to me. And I keep telling it here, where it's going to root and where it's going to be nurtured and where it's going to be nourished. I bring conviction to it. I bring power. I bring presence. I bring feeling. I bring aliveness. I assume the feeling of this good already fulfilled. I assume the feeling of it. Not only do I think about it, I feel it. And I start to act as though it's already so. That's how I create the mental equivalent of the good that I desire. I assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the desire fulfilled, the good fulfilled. I think that way, I feel that way, and I act that way before it even happens. And then one day I wake up and it's there and I say, of course it is. I've already known that. I felt it. I've been knowing it, living it, and so on. So that's the second step. The third step, of course, is always to know how that happened and to whom is the glory. It's not to you. It's not your own good auspices. The only thing that you have to do is to open up and be receptive to the good flowing through you. All you have to do is hold up an open, receiving mind and heart to the good that's already waiting to pour itself through you and say, thank you, yes, 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 come, 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 come. Yes, thank you, praise you, bless you, thank you, love you, thank you. That's a most important part of the process. And then you do not allow anything or anyone to interfere with your knowing that this good is happening in your life. You deny anything to the contrary. Anything to the contrary is unthinkable. Unthinkable. How do you think people create amazing things in their lives? How do you think that supposed miracles happen? Not because people are thinking, well, it might or it mightn't, and if it does, it's a good thing, and if it doesn't, it was never meant to be. That's not the attitude that creates what we call miracles, not at all. It's the oneness with the good that I desire, knowing that it is divine providence will that I should have life and have it in abundance, that my joy may be complete, that I may be the fullness of the glory of God alive in life and living. It's knowing that. And it has nothing to do with deservability. Get that out of the way. You don't deserve it, and neither do I. And it has nothing to do with the deservability factor. It has everything to do with the entitlement factor. You were born pre-approved, pre-recognized. You were born pre-qualified. You were born entitled because you are the image and the likeness of your Creator. And that's why you can do what you can do. And no other reason. No other reason. And so get your little ego self out of the way and stop saying, oh, well, when I get better, when I'm more good, and when I complete that course, and when I take that class, and when I give up that thing, and when I blah, 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 blah. That's all really holy baloney. It really is. That's us trying to be spiritual. And you know, we're already spirited people. We are Christed people. We are a priestly people. We are a sovereign people. But we have to take that seriously. In spite of all our lumps, humps, bumps, and warts, as I said this morning, the truth is, I'm not my humps, lumps, bumps, and warts, thanks be to God. We are so much more than that. I am more than any mistake I have ever made. I am more than any success I've ever achieved. I am so much more than that, and I need to get in touch with the moreness without a bloated ego in the way of it. We have to get our bloated nothingness out of the way, as the great one said, and simply be open and receptive to the love that is unconditioned and pours itself out unconditionally to those of us who hold up the cup of receptivity and say, yes, thank you, yes, yes. And that's the process of the creative way of controlling or directing or using the law of life aright. That's the way we do it, and we do it with great good in mind, in heart, and in soul. So how do we show up to our clear idea? We show up understanding that I'm recognizing the power, the oneness of life. I'm recognizing the presence of a divine impulse within me that wants to express through me, and I am so jazzed that that should be the case by means of me. I am so thrilled. I'm so excited. I am over the moon, crazy in joy, because I've recognized the power and the presence and the otherness of myself, and I have been able to identify with it and say yes to it, in spite of the smallness that I've allowed myself to experience. I'm now going into the big, the more, the great, and I'm saying yes to that. And I'm in awe of that, and I'm humbled by that. So I show up with an open mind. I show up with an open heart. I show up with everything that is in me, singing of gratitude, singing the song of appreciation, of thanksgiving, and of gratitude, and saying, yes, yes, I let it be so, like Mary, fiat, and so be it. Fiat, so be it, so be it. And so every time this good impulse shows up and you say to it, so be it, because your soul can magnify the law and your spirit can rejoice in the presence and the power of that energy of infinite intelligence within you, because that which is mighty is doing great things in you and through you and as you, and blessed and holy and worthy is its name, and its name is called you. You. And if it shows up with that desire to express itself as some good through you, who are you not to say yes to it? And who are you to say, why me? Who are you to say, why not me? You're the moreness. And only the moreness can say, why not me? And get it. Okay, is there any way we can get this deeper within our understanding and our awareness? We have this gold bag behind here and it has things in it. I took them out this morning, the gold bag's on the floor. So here we are, picture this. Do you remember when you and I were children and we loved to grab a piece of paper, and we loved to grab also a magnifying glass if we could get one, with the delight of going out there and burning up everything? So we snuck out the paper, we snuck out the magnifying glass, we went to get the best sun we could get, and we played around with it, you know, until we saw some little browning occurring. Of course, it never was much more than the browning, but nevertheless, that was a thrill. And of course, our parents would keep a close eye on us when they saw us doing anything like that. Well, imagine this target here, this bullseye, as the goal you wish, the good you wish to express and experience in your life. You've become clear, you have the clarity. Now here it is, your idea is perfectly there, ready for you to bring it on home, to bring it on through. There's something I have to bring to that for that to happen, for it to ignite, for it to root. And it is this magnifying glass, which is the symbol here for focus, faith, and conviction. I have to take focus, faith, and conviction to the realization of this idea. And here it is. And the more convicted I am, the more focused I am, the more faith I have in it, the greater the magnification, the more powerful it becomes. But there's a third element that is required too, and it's the power of consciousness, infinite intelligence, the law moving upon it. And so, if I bring consciousness to it that's unconscious, because no matter when we're unconscious, asleep, or whatever, we're always consciousness. But what we want to be is consciousness, not unconscious consciousness. So I may have my wonderful light here, symbolized in this lamp, consciousness. But if it's not switched on, if it's not powered up, it has no influence over this. For this to work, I have to bring the light of consciousness to it, must be switched on. And so with this, shining through the magnification onto the desired goal, I am unstoppable if I stay in that alignment. The three elements must be in place, must be fired up, must be cooking, must be working for this realization to happen very quickly. Now, I can have all of them and know that they have to be used this way, but then I could get careless and random and my consciousness is all over the la la la. Well, nothing much is happening here as a result. Or my conviction could wane, you know, and then it's going to take forever for this to happen. So, we line them all up together. We keep that alignment, we maintain that alignment, that clarity, that focus and that power and that passion. And then, lo and behold, as I say, one day we wake up and there it is. The good that I desired is in place. And that is the process of bringing through into your life whatever good thing it is that you desire. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Do you have to be any great whoop-de-doo person to do it? No. No. because each and every one of us has the very same power available to us. Each and every one of us has the very same degree of Christhood. We're all Christed. The Buddha mind is in us all, each and every one, believe it or not. You may be saying, well, I don't know about my neighbor next door. But trust me, it's as much in your neighbor next door as it is in Mother Teresa or anybody else. The only thing is, it's a question of conscious degree. How conscious are we? How aware are we? And the thing about it is, you and I have to stop entertaining, wandering, miasmic, floating debris of random, careless thinking. That's got to stop. It's blocking the filters of our good. It's preventing our good coming through all of that careless and that random thought and thinking. Remember, every single thought is an act of creation. Every single thought is an act of creation. Every single thought is an act of creation. Therefore, consequently, we want to know that what our thoughts are creating is good and very good and only good and very good. So we have to keep an eye on the thoughts that are happening and understanding that life is amazing. It's incredible. Every single morning, you and I break into a new opportunity. We break into the possibility of a new life, a new world, a new way of being. And you and I can think a new thought in it. We can sing a new song in it. It's up to you and it's up to me. My past doesn't have to equal my future. I am not my past. And I, out of the granite of today, this moment now, can forge and chisel a fabulous future. Remember this, I'm not going to walk into a mansion tomorrow if the plans I have built today are for a shed. I can't do it. My plans are for a shed and not a mansion. So as you think it, so it is. So you and I are called to hold up a huge idea to the universe, to life, to the good, to the divine provider of all good that we experience, and simply say yes to it. You cannot receive if you do not show up and ask. And the asking is an open receptivity, a yes, an affirmative yes to life and living. Now here's the key. Why is it the positive thinking itself won't work? Positive thinking itself won't work. Affirmations won't work in and of themselves. I can't just say a positive thought and say a positive affirmation and see them as something apart from me. The way things work ASAP, immediately, automatically, mathematically, is I have to become the positive thing itself. I have to become the affirmation. I have to be that which is positive. I have to be that which is affirming. And I can't just leave that for my 5 or 10 minutes of prayer or spiritual practice over here, where I'm going to get all good and all holy and say, oh God, it's wonderful, you're lovely, you're beautiful, thank you for being in my life. And here's, by the way, what I'd like to, realize in my life. And I'm making these affirmations now, and I know they're going to work. And I affirm by the power and the presence of you within me that this wonderful good is coming through me, and I know it's coming through me ASAP. And I am so grateful. I'm so thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I walk out the door, and somebody for some reason irks me, and I say, for goodness sake. It's not going to work. Forget that over there. I've just canceled it out. See, I have to be the affirmation in the way I show up in my life. I have to be that which is positive in the way I show up in my life. I have to be the thanksgiving in my life, the praise in my life, the goodness in my life, the honoring in my life, the respecting in my life. I have to be that if I want it instantaneously. And I can have it instantaneously when I become that thing itself, that affirmation, that goodness, that amazing grace that brings everything on through. Do you get it? That's how we trip ourselves up all the time and fall on our faces. Because we separate ourselves from our spiritual practice. We're all so holy over here, and we're little demons over here. And the two cancel each other out. And so there you are, random living, careless thought, life in a flux, the role of the dice. Some days are good, some days are not so good, depending upon whatever. I say it's depending upon you forgetting who you are and what you are and what's coming through you and the power that's backing up your thought. So that terrible thought about your neighbor, that dreadful thought about your boss is going to trip us up, etc. We've got to be who we are if we are to create the world that we so long for and so desire. A world of peace, a world of serenity where we all see each other as one, where we're one family and we care about each other and we know we belong to each other and we show up to serve each other and to whoosh everybody along, as well as going along ourselves. You see, that's how easy it is and how darn difficult it is at the same time. Gee, I have to be what I say is good in life. I have to be that good myself. So I'm asking you today, as you go through the week, to be very, very careful of your thought, to bring clarity to your thought, conviction to your thought, to open up a big, huge receptivity to life that desires to pour itself out all over you and through you and bless you in every which way but loose. I'm asking us all to pay attention to the thinking that's going on, to match the feeling with the thinking, and then to behave as though that good was already alive and kicking in my life. Are you on for that? Yes. Are you really and truly ready for that? Yes. Are you ready to move into that understanding and that awareness that I'm simply an open vessel for all of life's good to pour itself through me? Yes. Wow. I mean, you're going to have the most fantastic week of your life if you watch those thoughts, watch those feelings, and keep yourself clear, convicted, and sound, because faith is the key factor. Faith, 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 faith. Do you believe? Yes, I believe. Then go. You are healed. You are whole. You are prospered. You are healthy. You are well. And I leave you with the last thought. The pain is not in your leg. The pain is in your mind. The lack is not in your circumstances. The lack is in your mind, etc., etc., etc. And so remember that as you're keeping your thoughts clear during the week. And that which comes into my mind can easily flow out of it. Come in, go out, you know, the in and out burger thing. The revolving door. So I'm knowing for each and every one of us now, and all those near and dear to us, and every person on this planet, and everything on this plane, that all is in receptivity now for great good things to flow and to happen by means of this awareness, and our affirmation of this awareness, and our saying yes to our good. Are we saying yes to our good? Yes. In every way? Yes. Every day? Yes. And when are we starting this? Now. Yes, and so it is.